I'm lucky to share my name with Nick Drake, the singer-songwriter, who sadly died in 1974, leaving behind 4 amazing and original albums. And it's a great honour to be accompanied through life by his spirit. And occasionally I get mistaken for the first Nick Drake. For example, in The Independent, I read this: sex, adventure, places, writing. These are the ingredients of romance, not for Englishmen though. From Lord Byron to Nick Drake, the great English romantic has been an effete, narcissistic poseur neutered by his own blankness. And then when my first book came out, The Man in the White Suit, I read this review on the Amazon website. Not what was expected. Reviewer, a reader from UK. I made the unfortunate mistake of thinking this was some newly found material from the 70s singer-songwriter Nick Drake. Needless to say, I was disappointed. Spelt D-I-S-S-A-P-O-I-N-T-E-D. Live Air. The deserted second-hand record exchange. Just a bald guy and his ponytail, guarding the memory palace of dead vinyl. Multiple copies of Rumours and Blue and the Carpenters' greatest hits in brown and gold. Pink Moons playing on the sound system. Nick Drake's last LP. Soon he would die. On the night Lord Lucan disappeared, Miss World lost her crown as an unmarried mother, and the sun's November Mercury slipped off the indigo horizon at 4:04 p.m. I browse the bins, and luckily I find Fruit Tree, the deleted posthumous box set. 5 leaves left, Brighter Later, Pink Moon. 3 big black discs, acetate ammonites, coded for ancient technology. I offer Bela Lugosi my credit card. He contemplates the name, my face, and then up to the shivering strip light and the obscure ceiling where sound waves collide to conjure Nick's sad ghost in the live air, whispering, "Know that I love you. Know that I care. Know that I see you. No, I'm not there." Then the song fades to recorded silence, the hushed acoustic of his afterlife, before the static, the perpetual heartbeat trip round the record's inevitable zero. Lugosi stares from the dark vacancy, the tangled wires, the drifting golden motes in the creaky auditorium of dust, where the ghost had sung and disappeared. He grins. Oh man, I thought you were dead." So many Nick Drakes. Well, I feel all through all of them, I feel I'm a poet. And poetry was the first art that mattered to me. It's the art that matters the most. It took me quite a long time to publish my first book with Bloodaxe. I was already 40 when it came out. And it did quite well. But to make a living as a freelance writer, you have a choice. You can teach or you can diversify. And for whatever reason, I chose to diversify because I've always worked in other fields. I've worked in theatre as a literary manager, commissioning plays, and I've worked in film, working on screenplays all the way through production. And there is a wonderful potential congruence between poetry and theatre and film, and indeed librettos. I think my favourite movies are poetic, and I think my favourite plays, in the sense of the language in them, are poetic as well. So now when I write plays, holding the language is incredibly important to me, and I think I've learned things from my poetry which I can bring into plays. Most of all with librettos, because librettos have to be incredibly distilled and very, very economical. And the poetry of them is not necessarily in the lyricism of the language, but in the in the absolute choice of the necessary word. So for example, because music does so much of the heavy lifting in opera, you can have a simple word like I love you, simple phrase like I love you, and it becomes lifted into another sphere. So I see the way I write librettos and poetry is very similar. I'm composing something. I'm trying to find the best words, the absolutely necessary words for every story. But what I've also learned from film and from theatre is about structure, about how you shape a story, how you discover the shape of a story. So I would like to be better known as a poet because that's where my heart is. And it's where I think I can write best about the material of the times to hand, and particularly about climate and what we've done to nature and how we can heal it and heal ourselves as best we can.